Hey. Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Sierra Shanae, speaker brand strategist. Super excited to be here for the very first live stream talk show of Speaker Strategies with Sierra Shanae. Really excited. Same rules apply here because it's live. I want you to say, hey, speaker fam, in the comments. Oh, let me take this blur off. I was like, what is happening? Forgot I had a blur on Tuesday. Give me one good second. But let me know that you are here. Write your name. Say hey. I'll be right on back. Alrighty, that is much better. Much better. All right, so many of you don't know, but I have been wanting to have a talk show for several years. I can remember as far as back to 2017, but like most of us, I allowed perfectionism to hold me back from starting because it didn't look the way I wanted it to. I didn't have the editing or the team or whatever that I wanted to begin to have this show. And recently I was like, bump that. We're going to have this show and it will gradually grow and become better and greater over time. But let's just start. So welcome to Speaker Strategies with Sierra Shanae. This will go down on Thursdays, maybe not every week, but it's definitely going to go down on Thursdays. So look out for it. And today I want to talk about a topic that is really near and dear to my heart. And before we dive on into that, I want to introduce myself for those who do not know me, or those, because you're sharing this, people may come in contact with me who have not really known who I was until just now, a couple seconds ago. But today we're going to talk about how God will give you strategy, yet he will also send you a strategist. So God will give you strategy and send you a strategist. That's what we're going to dive in today. So if that is something that interests you, I want you to hang on in there and continue to have this conversation with me in the comments. But for those of you who do not know me, hey, it's your girl, Sierra Shanae, speaker brand strategist, and I absolutely love to help women speakers turn and transform their voices into a client magnet. I like to help them brand their voices so that they can ultimately attract and enroll qualified clients into the group coaching program. And so that is what I am all about. But we are going to deal with some mindset today because it is something that typically hinders us, especially as believers in business. Those who believe in God and believe in themselves in business, sometimes we allow praying. It's so funny because it seems like prayer is a beautiful thing. It is. But we allow praying to become a hindrance and a barrier in our business. And we think that that is all that's required for us to be successful. But I want to talk to you about this parallel and this combo and this compound that works very well together. Strategy being that God can truly give it. I've experienced it time and time again. And then I've also experienced him sending strategists as well. And so sometimes we think that, we're leaning on God to give us our insight, and we think that it's only going to come strictly by way of his voice, when sometimes he might use another vessel as well, and we might need to invest in what that vessel has to offer so that we can get the strategy that God wants for us to have, right? And so it's not like, God, I've been praying about it. Why haven't you given it to me? And it's not that God is not a God who cannot give you strategy. So I'm not saying, hey, you need a strategist because God is strategyless. No, by all means, I'm not saying that. By no means am I saying that, because God has given me strategy. I've experienced it, but I've also witnessed God causing for strategists to cross my path and them being exactly what I needed to take my business to the next level. So the question is posed, Have you been praying to God to make big decisions in your business? And I want to know that in the chat, or you can just think about it like, yeah, I find myself praying to God to make big decisions in my business because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to decide. I don't know what choice to make. I don't know how to make this work. I don't know what steps to take to be successful. So I'm asking God to guide me, order my steps, order my footsteps. Tell me what to do. Give me insight. Give me strategy, God. I'll never forget in 2020, in the thick of the pandemic, I believe it was August of 2020, I was on unemployment because January, right before the pandemic, I had lost my job. I also was coming to terms with the fact that my marriage was coming to an end, and my life was going to look a lot different. And so I began to pray to God for strategy because July, before August, July of that year, my unemployment was coming to an end. And I was one of the blessed folk that was able to get the extra refund checks and things of that nature. I was able to stack those up. And I was like, okay, God, like, but it's coming to an end. I'm not going to be able to rely on this stream of income that I've gotten so comfortable with, because the brook is about to dry up. If anybody is familiar with that text, like, the brook is about to dry up. And I was like, what can I do, God? Because all I have is my business. What I was doing to hustle, the stores are closing down. People are not meeting in public. I can't sell bath and body products or sell jewelry the way that I was in person. I like, what am I going to do now? And I'll never forget me getting booked for this out of state speaking engagement. And lo and behold, as I was studying and preparing to do a brand new speech because I wanted to sell my anthology that I was a part of called God Doesn't Want You to Be Broke by Sade Wadu. And I was like, God, my chapter in the book is called Poverty Is Not Your Purpose. And I'm just like, but God, I'm going to go speak at this event. But what am I going to do? All I have is my business and it's doing okay. But what am I going to do? And I'll never forget hearing in my spirit that your prosperity is locked up in your mouth. Your prosperity is locked up in your mouth. And that is one of the critical moments where I realized that God had given me a strategy. He told me what I should do. And so then from then on, I began speaking. I began guest coaching. It was all of my voice. I began to amplify my voice. I did live challenges. I did a lot of live streams. And as a result, I began to flourish. My business began to reach heights that it had never reached ever. And I was super duper excited about it. I had reached milestones in my business. I was able to sustain my lifestyle and some. I was able to take trips to Florida, and stay there for an entire week. It was such a freedom and the flexibility. And I had never experienced those types of heights before. And it was all because God gave me strategy, saying that my prosperity was locked up in my mouth. And so I had to realize what was in my mouth. What could I do with my voice? What could I do to monetize my message that would truly get me the income that I was praying that for him to help me figure out? I was like, my unemployment's coming to an end, God. Like, in case you didn't know, hello, sir, up there. I know it's awesome up there, huh? Like, help me out, please. And he told me that my prosperity was locked up in my mouth. Shortly after that, I also had to look at my signature framework. And after looking at my signature framework, I realized that I also wanted to have a system that I could continue to walk my clients through versus customizing it here and there. So that's little by little, that's how the Voice of the Clients method came to be, what I teach my speaker clients today. It came to be because he said my prosperity was locked up in my mouth. That was what was going to work for me. And that's what had blew my business up. I realized that that's also something that I would want to teach my clients to help to blow their business up. Makes sense? You following me? And so that's when I began to redefine my signature framework, the Voice to Clients method, as it is today. And it took a couple of years of tweaking. until it got to where it is now. And not only did it take years and time, it took me coming across a coach called Rajade. And so much I could say about Rajade. But one thing I would definitely tell you is that she is a strategist and a coach in her own right. And one thing that God did was not only did he give me strategy, but he sent me a strategist. And so while working with Rajade, I was able to fine tune and, like she would also say, codify my signature framework. And now I'm super confident in it. Hey, Camille, super confident in it. Okay. And so I'm super confident in the structure of the framework, the results that it will produce for my clients. I'm really excited about that. And then later, I also came across the Keisha, who I'm now working with as well. I still have Rajade. Thank God she's still around. Rajade. And then there's the Keisha, who is a webinar strategist. And she's one of the reasons why I'm doing my masterclass tonight. And I just want to give y'all more information if you're interested. Now would be the last time to register because it's going down tonight. And I'm actually being kind of sweet, allowing you to get in now. And so if you haven't registered for the masterclass yet, it's going down in a few hours. And so you can definitely get on the list, Speaker Sis. Okay, we're going to be talking about the number one way to attract more qualified clients to your group coaching program. And so if you want to learn more about that, if you want to learn how you don't have to continue to attract unfit clients into your business, if you want to simplify your client acquisition process and you want to begin to grow a tribe that is excited to work with you, then you want to make sure that you're on the list for the masterclass. There will be a replay that will be sent out to those who register. So even if you cannot attend live, you're going to want to make sure that you register so that you can get that information that you need. And so he sent Strategist into my life. Okay. He sent Strategist. And so this live stream conversation, this talk show conversation is just an introduction to Speaker Strategies with Sierra Shanae. But also, I wanted to have this conversation because a lot of Christian entrepreneurs, a lot of women in business, they get caught up in praying so much they're not as productive as they could be. And I'm not saying that you should not pray because, as I mentioned, I prayed to God for strategy and I've been able to receive strategy from God. But I've also experienced Him sending strategists that I had to have the guts or the faith to invest in so that I can get the strategy that they possess. And it's been a game changer for my business. And so I wanted to definitely share that with you. Like, I get it that sometimes investing in a strategist can be a leap of faith, but it can literally be also an answered prayer. You can literally be praying to God, praying to God, praying to God for strategy. And it's literally right behind the door of the opportunity that you have dared to take, that you have dared to walk through, that you have dared to open up. Because literally doors will swing open and you could just walk through. And then there's some doors you literally have to do and put some effort in to turn the knob. It's on you. The door is not locked. You just have to turn the knob. You just have to be willing to do the necessary steps to take the action to make power moves so that you can make it happen. It's literally on you. So sometimes we're like praying and waiting when God already heard you. He already made the provision, and now it's on you to do what you got to do so that you can get what you've asked Him for. And then you can sometimes find yourself going back to God like, well, God, I'm praying about this. Like, when are you going to answer it? He's like, I did already. Like, I'm not haste and concerning my promises. Like, I already did what I said I was going to do. I always do what I say I'm going to do. I'm faithful like that, And so it's true. And some people, this may be an uncomfortable conversation. For some of you, like, how can I combine praying and investing in yourself? But it's factual. I've seen it, and you can talk to other people in this industry and what they've experienced. But praying to God is a beautiful thing, and I don't say stop. But I also want you to know that He uses other people. So sometimes you may be waiting for the wind, or you might be waiting for, I forget the other scenarios of that text where like God was showing up in different ways. I'm gonna try to look it up real fast. Any comments from anybody while I'm looking up this text? I think it was like wind and thunder and sometimes God is gonna move right through the strategist. Like, so this is not a Sunday sermon. This is definitely, as a Christian woman entrepreneur myself, understanding the practicalities of it all. Like, yes, there's the supernatural, there's the spiritual side, but then there's also the practicality. The faith without works is dead side. The works, the participation. I always like to say, like, God is going to make provision. God is going to be God. God's always going to be God, and just as life is always going to be life. But you also have to make moves. You got to be doing what you got to do. You got to do your part. So I'm trying to find it. I think it's in. It was something like he's not in the wind. I think this is it. Let's see. Yeah. 1 Kings 19. Let me go to my Bible app. So while I'm doing this, I'll introduce myself again. Hey, I'm Sierra Shanae.